Happy Monday. All right, so today we are going to be making some artistic kind of cards. So I'm going to be kind of challenging you just a little bit. So I hope that you embrace it and have fun. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do here for this card, sorry, I'm going to like scoot my things out of the way here. Got pair of scissors. Okay, so I wanted to make something that was kind of like a combination of things. It was kind of like artistic, kind of like a bunch of different artsy looking things all on one page. So that's kind of my thought with this. Oops, these little guys. Oh yeah, I'm going to put these right here. Okay, so what I'm going to start out doing first is I'm going to cut these into like little sections. I'm going to kind of build like kind of a fun geometric design on here. And you can cut them in kind of a variety of different sizes. You have like, you know, long and then a little bit medium, and then you can make this a little bit short. That'll be kind of fun. And then I think down here, I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of go in the same kind of direction here. And kind of lay this down. Okay, so I will do something kind of fun like that. And then I have these little fun little things in here, in this little baggie here. I have some little gems, I have some little dots, and so we're going to incorporate those. And then my thought here is that I kind of wanted to make it look like maybe there was like a paint, like a streak of paint somewhere, okay? But we're going to build it out of paper. I'm kind of excited to do this with you because I love this kind of idea. All right, so out of your blue piece of paper here, you're going to cut a little section. You're going to cut a tapered piece, like a little triangle, but you're going to cut like a really skinny triangle. So, you know, just like a little tapered section, maybe like this, okay? Something just like that. At the end here, you're just going to cut it so that it's kind of, you know, more flat. And then about, a little section of the way down, you're going to cut this tiny little triangle in the side, okay? Just a little notch. On the opposite side of the paper, you're going to do the exact same thing and cut another little notch, all right? And you're gonna you can always make the notches a little bit bigger if you're like, oh, that one's, you know, doesn't match the other side. Don't worry, you can always just like adjust it so that way you're roughly the same. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's totally fine if it's not. And you have your little paintbrush end, and then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna cut the you're gonna make the little paintbrush bristles. So you're gonna grab a pen. I'm just gonna grab. I love this fine, super fine point. It's called a Slicky pen. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of make kind of an oval with kind of a little curly on the, or not an oval, a little curved edge with a little curly on the end. And then on the other side, I'm going to make the other side and then just kind of match that up. Okay, so something kind of like this. All right, it's not perfect. And then you're just going to kind of fill in the bristles by just kind of drawing lines like this. Okay, following kind of in that same kind of direction. All right, so you're just draw kind of lines like that. All right, so again, it's not perfect, and actually it's better if it's not. And then I'm going to kind of draw some little lines out of the end like that. And I'm just going to kind of finish it off and just kind of make that a little bit thicker there. Kind of color it in a little bit. All right, so just use my pen and just kind of color that a little bit darker. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and just take my scissors here. Of course, I know I can't really cut that little curly at the end there, but I can kind of follow that kind of direction. And I'm going to kind of cut in here and kind of cut just a couple of these little points. All right. So, no, it's not perfect, but then once you can use your scissors and you can kind of shape it out a little bit. So I ended up only cutting out a couple little points, but it ended up being a couple little points that were kind of groupings rather than trying to cut out single little lines, okay? So I hope you can see that, but there's just a couple little points. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue that onto the end of my little paintbrush. Okay, so you're going to end up with something like this. And you can always trim your paintbrush. I'm finding that I think my paintbrush is just a little bit too thick still. So I'm just going to make that a little bit more narrow, and you can follow the lines that you drew earlier because that will be helpful for your guide so that you end up so it still looks like a little paintbrush. Okay. All right. So this is what we've ended up with. Okay. So I think that it just needs to be a little bit more narrow right at the base. Kind of deciding. Because I kind of want it to taper in just a little bit at the base where it goes back into the paintbrush. Oh yeah, that's much better. So it kind of tapers back in a little bit. I like that a lot more. Okay, so it's going to be kind of my paintbrush kind of tip. Alright, so now that I have my paintbrush, now I want to have like a little streak of paint. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to take this light blue piece and we're going to kind of, I'm just going to kind of cut like a really bad U, letter U. I'm going to make a little squiggly a little bit as well. Okay, I'm going to do another one right on the inside of that, kind of following the same kind of lines that I just did. Okay, now on one end, I'm going to make it so that it kind of tapers out into nothing, and it fades off into nothing, into a little point like that. Alright, and that's going to be our little paintbrush line. Okay, so I'm kind of building this kind of artistic kind of background here. Okay, alright. And I can use my other piece of paper, or my other little piece of paper that's also blue, and kind of do a couple more of those. So just kind of cut out. Again, they don't have to be kind of perfect, but they can kind of be kind of random. That's kind of my thought. And you can make them kind of blobby or whatever you would like to do, but make sure that they're pointy on both ends. Okay. And my thought is like maybe these are like little streaks of paint. All right. Okay. So now we can go in and we can add in our little dots and things, and it's just going to kind of, again, make this look just kind of artsy. Okay, so we're just going to kind of start filling it. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing things down. That's kind of my thought here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that little squiggle that we did here, I want to kind of double layer it so that it looks kind of like a streak of paint, and that's makes it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue that onto this piece of black paper here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and my little blue piece of paper that I have left here, I'm going to kind of cut out like little blobs of paint. And I'm going to do the same thing and just kind of glue them down here on this black piece of paper. And I have like kind of a big one, and I'm going to do kind of a smaller one. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to take my scissors here, and I'm just going to cut around them my little pieces. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do about 1/8 of an inch, about all the way around. 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch all the way around. Alright, so we're just kind of giving it a nice little border. And then we're going to go down to a little point. And then the other side here. We're going to wrap, and that's going to kind of cut to a point here. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and lay down my paintbrush. I'm going to go ahead and just attach it to my bristle end here. Now I got to kind of figure this out here because I want to make sure that it's all going to fit onto my card. Okay, so I think that's going to go like right there. It doesn't have to match up necessarily with the end of the paint. I just want it to look kind of painty. Okay. Now, let's see here. On your little, you might have a little piece of blue left here. And on the middle of that black piece that you cut out, you should have this kind of weird looking piece like this. And interestingly enough, if you did this right, it should look a little bit like a paint tube, which is kind of perfect. So I'm really loving this. I'm going to cut this just a little bit shorter and just a little bit more short like this. And this little blue piece, I'm going to pull across here. I'm going to write the word paint on it. You can write blue paint if you want. I will write blue paint, and then we'll draw a line underneath my word blue, right underneath my word paint. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. Once I glue it onto my little black section there, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over and then trim this so that it looks like it's all part of the tube. Oh, fun. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue this, a little piece of this black at the top. It's going to be like the tube top. And a little piece of... Alright, so then you should have a little piece of this blue left. One of your little squiggles here, and you can glue those onto your little piece of black paper here that you have left. And you might have to trim them short in order for them to fit on this piece of black paper with the scraps that you have left. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut out again about 1/8 of an inch to 1/16 of an inch all the way around. It's not gonna, it doesn't have to be perfect. It makes it a little bit blobular. Makes it look kind of more blobular. If it doesn't match up perfect, a little more like painties. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here for these little guys. Alright, I know I have a bit of a disaster going on here, but this is my thought. Okay, so in your little blue paint tube, you can put a little bit of one of your little paint splurts out of it like this. So much fun. Alright, so I don't know if you glued on your paintbrush yet. Maybe, perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of build my little section here. Okay, start creating kind of an interesting background. Now, I want these kind of little marks here to kind of fill in some of my background space so that it's not so boring. And again, making it look a little bit kind of artistic. Okay, so I want it to be kind of fun, not too busy, but having kind of a neat, kind of artistic looking focal point. All right, so I have all these fun little pieces here. Let's pull out some of these things we're not using. Our little scraps. This is how I build things, you guys. This is what doing art with Ellie is like. Like, oh yeah, then let's do this, then let's do this. I just get so excited about stuff. Okay, and I know I'm going to do something right here with that guy. And I'll probably do something like there with that guy. So I want to do my lines so that they balance on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my lines down over here. So hopefully you can see my white base here. I'm going to grab my craft mat at this point. I should grab that earlier. But just so that you can see that nice contrast there with that piece. Alright. So up here, this piece here, I'm going to glue that on. Make this piece a little bit closer in, you know, kind of my stair step, and then finally I'm going to glue on this piece. I'm going to go ahead and trim those off here in just a moment. For my little black dots here, the idea is that maybe these are like little paint splatters or something of the like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and glue on my little paint tube situation, or my little paint line, whatever you want to call it. And then of course my little tube of paint, which I thought was kind of fun as well. Oh, I think I wanted to kind of glue that up there a little bit. Oh, it might be too late. All right. Of course, my paintbrush is just hanging off the edge at the most inopportune place. I was kind of thinking, I want this to kind of be nice and balanced a little bit. So I think I'm going to go like that. On the side here. Love it. And then we're going to go ahead and put the paintbrush in place. Okay. Now you can go in with your little blobs of your paint I need to kind of round my edges a little bit so they're not so sharp. Okay, and I think I'm going to put some of my blobs on the inside and some of my blobs on the outside. Alright, and then you can add in your paint splatters. Oh, before we add our paint splatters, of course, we need to add in our little borders here along the edge. Right here. Okay, and then I'm going to add in my little dots. And then I've also included some little gems in here. I'm going to add in my little paint splatters. So, I think I'll actually do the paint splatters inside. That's what my decision is there. I think that's going to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more Ellie, I think. Cut a tiny little piece off here on the edge. Oops. Making sure that you're putting the edge that's on the inside of your card side here, that is the edge that is the straight edge. So if you're only using your scissors, you want to make sure you're either cutting a really straight line, or you're using a paper cutter, or you're only putting the straight edge side on your card. Okay. And I love that these gems kind of pick up this kind of blue background a little bit. It's quite fun. It makes it look a little bit more magical in a way. Oops. Okay. And then we're going to do our black here and here. I usually just lick my finger, and that helps so that I can stick those black little dots in place, because otherwise they can be quite finicky, quite hard to pick up. Okay. So cute. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and trim off the edges here, the little black bits that are hanging off. And then we'll mount that on the front of our card base, like so. And you can decide which direction you want yours to go. I think I like my original way. Oops, I lost a little dot. It isn't quite dry yet. Alright, then for the inside of the card, we have the little sentiment that says, "I made this for you," which I thought was so cute. And then, because it's really artsy looking anyway, and then you can do your little blobs of paint on the inside, which I thought was kind of sweet because it kind of goes with the blobs of paint that are on the front. Okay. Cute. Alright, so there we have artsy card number 1. Pretty fun. Alright, on to the next one.